Hey there, welcome back to the Deadpool and Honey Badger podcast. Boy, soundtrack for Deadpool and Wolverine is a real banger, am I right? Right on brand. He is awful at podcasting. But that's okay, because today we're here to listen. That's right. I prepared a supercut of all of your grunting from the film.
Oh, God.
Just like that. I believe that one. Do we get that? That was a good one. Roll it. That was a good one.
Hey.
Yeah, not a good idea. No, we'll go with music from now on.
I hate you.
Oh.
What's going on, everybody?
So,
Welcome to the show. We got a fun one, I think, for tonight. We finally saw Deadpool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And, man, I gotta say, I was happy with it. I was like, I mean, I heard people were like crying when they came out of it. I wasn't crying.
I don't know about that.
Or the scene, you know, and when he pulls the hood down and you see like 30 or 50-year-old men like crying. Nah, it wasn't like that for me, but it was cool, man. That was a really cool movie, and that scene in particular was also awesome.
So
what are you guys doing?
Just for like anybody who's watching this, just so they know, I am the one guy who's not actually seen the movie yet. They're going to be probably ruining some things for me tonight. So enjoy that.
Yeah,
you know
it might be some.
We'll call you when dinner's ready.
Yeah, I'll try not to spoil too much.
Spoil away.
So here's
what am I in for?
There might be some spoilers. But the weird thing about this movie is the spoilers aren't necessarily like about the plot or the story, right? I wouldn't call that the spoilers.
No.
But there are a lot of cameos in this movie. Cameos and Easter eggs. Like, out the fucking wazoo.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, so this movie was basically, I would call it the love letter send-off to 20th Century Fox. Because that is all you're encompassing.
Yeah. Definitely.
What you're getting out of this movie.
You know what? While we started here, and you're absolutely right, Jake, it is a send-off. I want to say hey to Dojo. Thanks for jumping in here, although you looks like you were a little earlier. Oh, there you are. Huge spoilers incoming. Yeah, there's probably going to be some spoilers.
Want to say
Stanley
what up,
jumped
Naughty
in here
too?
earlier.
Naughty's always here.
Yeah.
What's up, Nutty?
What's up, man? Let's go. I agree. Good evening, and everybody. Jake here. Howdy, everybody. All right, so
We've given everybody ample time. Like, if you don't want the movie ruined,
Right.
and as somebody who hasn't seen it, I always kind of side with discussions like this about movies, you know, and stories in general. I always kind of side on that. Like, we probably need to ruin this for the betterment of future stories. So that's kind of like my point of view jumping into this.
Wow.
and yeah, and spoilers are like I don't think it can ruin anything really. The movie was like Jake was saying, it's a send off to the 20th Century Fox, and all the I get this point you could say it was the precursors. Now that everything's kind of intermingled, it's like the setup, the setting the stage for the MCU, even though it wasn't at the time. It's kind of has now.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
This movie had it all, dude. It had everything I wanted, almost everything I wanted to see with Wolverine since I first heard of that X-Men movie was coming out. And I was expecting to see this, you know, like the yellow suit and all that fun stuff. And I thought it was cool, man. I thought that suit rocked.
Let's be honest. This movie was not Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie was Wolverine and Deadpool.
It was Wolverine. Yeah.
And you
know what?
This was Ryan Reynolds riding the coattails of Wolverine.
Yeah, pretty much. Totally.
Hey, that's a good role. I like that. That tells me like a lot about it right there, because if it's one thing, like all of Hollywood is writing Ryan Reynolds right now. For all the movies, all they're doing is just hiring him to play himself in so many of these movies. Right. It's nice to see him as that second all-star on the roster, you know, supporting the A-team guy, because that's where you get magic.
Yeah, and he's doing. Ryan Reynolds did a great job. Oh, I started to look at that one. Fan service in full effect. Yes, it was. It had a lot, and so there were some scenes that they're like these just quick scenes that got me. I was like, oh, that's badass. Like I wanted to see more of that. Like I want to see the whole movie. That there's like these moments where they go through all these different scenes, and you see some Wolverines. Yeah, and I was like, dude, where's the movie for each one of those? Because,
let's be honest, they made Short King way too short. Okay, 5'3" is not that short. You're still going to be above the bar a little bit.
Yeah, I like that they did that. I like that they threw Wolverine or Wolver. I don't know what would you call that. Mini Wolverine. I thought that was funny, but it also puts into perspective all the times you hear, oh, he's not 6 foot tall. He's not that. Well, that's what he looks like. Now we know. I'm kind of like, glad we haven't had a 5 foot Wolverine running around because that was hilarious. I laughed so hard. We got Stanley over here going like, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Wolverine. I don't know what we're talking about with this. What's the comic book? What's the comic book reference to this?
Here's the thing: Wolverine, since the conception, has always been like what 5'3" is short.
I thought he was like 5'3". Yeah.
Yeah, he's like short, but he's like built and he's tough. He's like a tiny little angry man.
Yeah, he's like a Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. So Hugh Jackman obviously is like 6 foot tall. He's a tall guy. And he did a good job with Wolverine. I thought after all this time, he's only getting better and better. But you always hear and that was one of the first things that I heard when Hugh Jackman was cast as Wolverine in the first X-Men was that he's too tall to be Wolverine. And that it should have been Danzig or somebody short,
Oh, I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I heard that rumor. No, I don't think so.
I'm kind of glad they didn't go with the Wolverine or Wolverine because it didn't look right. And there's a scene in this movie where they do that, and it's okay. That's why we didn't do.
Well, let's be fair. They didn't give him a fair chance. I'll say I'll be the one. I'll die on this hill. They did not give 5'3" Wolverine a chance because they put him in a fucking V-neck T-shirt with skinny jeans. That you already made him fail when you did that.
Yeah.
He's always supposed to be in leather jackets, white beaters, stuff like that. They made him.
That was a little bit over.
Had
he
been holding an Appletini, I would have not been shocked.
Wolverine's Appletini.
There you go.
Wolverine's Appletini. They got. You know what though? Hugh Jackman has only gotten better and better at this role, and I gotta say, dude, his acting is probably some of the best Hugh Jackman acting I have ever seen. Like out of everything he's done, I think this might be his best, possibly ever. Like I can't think of another movie that it was like, damn, dude, like you got me. That was a good moment.
I will say I gotta agree with that because I've only seen like all the trailers and the movie preview and this right here. To me, this screenshot it excels the acting. I've seen the screenshot all over the place, and it's just Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and he's just like got the claws out. It's a very expected shot, except that if you like do that pose, like you watching the video right now, do that pose and tell me that it is not painful to try to actually like bow down like that and hold that pose and make that face. Like he is literally acting with every inch of his body in just this shot alone.
Dude, I don't
and
think
he's carried that through on everything I've seen in all of the trailers too. Like it bleeds through. You can see it.
I don't think he's done anything like these poses and these moves in any of these Wolverine movies. Look at this. Oh wait, hold on, not that one.
What's up, Grant?
Look at that, dude. That is straight out of a comic book, and we've not seen that Wolverine ever. Hey, so Dojo's saying, love the homage paid to Silvestri's Wolverine nailed to the X cover. That was awesome too, man. I was gonna actually use that as the thumbnail. The Age of Apocalypse is the one that got me. I didn't expect that one. I wasn't the biggest fan of Age of Apocalypse back when it came out, but since then I've read it and I've got it, and I actually really like Age of Apocalypse, and that was cool that they threw him in there, that whole thing. But I like the X cover better. That was cool, and Patch was fun. I'm in the movie going like, oh, that's Age of Wolverine, that's Patch. You know, I'm like sitting there calling it all out, and my kids are like, shut the hell up, dude. We're trying to watch a movie. What's going on, Grant? Thanks for jumping in.
I'll say
Buddy saying, hey.
Hugh Jackman's way of playing Wolverine this time around excels because it had a lot to do with the backstory that they gave this Logan. And I think that made it to where he could play the more angry and more feral Wolverine because he no longer gave a shit. He was ready to either die or kill something in his way.
You know what? That kind of brings us back to a couple weeks ago when we did that episode talking about when it was still coming, it hadn't come out yet, and I was like, how are they going to do a movie without my Wolverine? You know, how could you give a shit about a new character?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, man, I hope they don't do that because how could they possibly get me invested in a brand new Wolverine after everything we've been through? I want to see a good ending for the Wolverine I've been watching since I was a kid, essentially, right? So, but I gotta say, they did a pretty damn good job, dude. That intro for the movie was something else.
They were very irreverent for Logan's last film.
in all Deadpool fashion, I don't think you could have done a better homage to the old Wolverine than that intro they did to Backstreet Boys of all things, or is it NSYNC? To NSYNC of all things.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was
if you'd have told me in the 90s, that a great Wolverine movie would have started with an NSYNC song, I would have lost faith in humanity.
And
that was something else. And they pulled it off good. I was like, oh, okay, because they gave you a little bit of they kind of like throw you off a little bit. And this is where, like, I guess spoiler territory, they kind of throw you off a little bit and then they continue forward with their plot. And I'm like, oh, and then we get this intro and it's like, holy shit, of course. It makes perfect sense now because it's Deadpool for one. This is a Deadpool movie, and you always got to bring it back to the aspect that this is a Deadpool Wolverine, not a Wolverine movie, even though it is a Wolverine movie, really.
Right.
But
Wolverine
it makes perfect sense that it's the bad Wolverine. It's like the shitty Wolverine. How do they put it? It's like, yeah, I guess the shitty Wolverine. The worst Wolverine is how they put it, right?
Right. This is the Wolverine that wasn't there when he needed to be.
Yeah.
So this is what this all entails, that feeling, that emotion behind Hugh Jackman in this film. And it's real funny because Kevin Feige and them at Marvel weren't ready to do a Deadpool 3. They couldn't nail down what they wanted to do to bring Deadpool into the Marvel universe. But as soon as Hugh Jackman called up Ryan Reynolds, it wasn't Ryan Reynolds calling up Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman called up Ryan Reynolds and said, I have an idea.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. I didn't
know that either.
I thought he had been hounding Hugh Jackman forever to do this. But that's cool, man.
That's the way I believe it happened, but Hugh Jackman's not telling that story in the media.
Dude, the advertising for this movie was so good, man. Like,
it was good.
Like the intro that I played in this video was from, I don't even know what was that. That was I think a Spotify ad. I'm not sure, but
right.
It's been a while since I've seen a movie go all out with the advertising like this movie did.
You know what's wonderful about it? I wish so many other IPs would follow suit on this. They gave like zero fucks on everything that they did with this. And they did it like they knew it was that like there's so much tongue in cheek. They're not afraid to make fun of themselves and be badass at the same time. Like we've never seen anything like that in cinema. It's unique. It's and so many like so many advertising companies could take a note from that. Like quit siding on like the side of caution and go out and make something great. Like advertising campaign, movie, quit the bullshit. Go make something good and quit being scared of everything.
Right.
Yeah, didn't Ryan Reynolds get into it? I heard that he got into it with Kevin Feige a couple of times regarding some like DEI stuff. Which, I mean, that's coming from Ryan Reynolds. He's not like some conservative, so it's kind of nice seeing that he's all about the movie and making a good movie.
He's about
and this is a movie, by the way, not a film. This isn't some artsy fartsy. This is an action flick that's meant to get you like, oh yeah, and there's a lot of action. Like the whole movie is action packed. Like the second movie had some real sentimental things going on with it that actually got me, dude. Like there were some moments that I was just like when he was when in the second movie when he died or he went to like go see his chick in heaven or whatever. That was a touching moment, especially in the Super Duper cut. They changed the soundtrack to a lot of stuff and the dialogue. I hope they do that with this movie because it can only make it insanely better, you know, like a director's cut kind of a thing. I can kind of see how like, there are moments. Yeah, there are moments that I was like, you know what? I could see them doing something a little different in the director's cut. But I could see why they would do that because this is a rated R movie, but kids are going to watch it, you know?
No doubt.
And they didn't have like the same kind of, I wouldn't say humor, but there were like scenes in the first Deadpool movie. I have to fast forward if I'm going to watch that movie with my kids around. You know what I mean? The second movie, in fact, the first movie, I watched it with my kids, but fast forwarded every time there was like a scene that was like, nope, we're not watching that shit.
You didn't want to have to discuss pegging with your daughters?
Yeah, I didn't want to have those conversations over a Deadpool movie. And then the second movie had some scenes too, but not as many. And this movie, we went and saw it in theaters, and there was nothing in there really that I can remember that was really like bad. That I was like, oh, I don't want to explain.
Well, they made that one joke about Marvel not allowing them to do anything that had to do with cocaine, right?
Yeah,
so,
but that's like
I'm sure that was on the same trajectory.
PG-13.
Like, we're not going to have sex scenes in our films, okay? We're still Marvel. We get it that we're R, but we're allowing you to drop F-bombs everywhere. We're not allowing you to...
There were a lot of F-bombs in this movie.
Yeah.
There were like some weird scenes that kind of got me. I was like, oh, okay, so that's kind of odd. Like, I guess they had 5 minutes to fill, so let's have another fight scene. Why not? Which was kind of cool and a weird... If you look at it, it's like, why not? Why not? It doesn't need to be some, emotional thing. The emotional whatever... They had a couple of moments that you're supposed to be emotional, but then they get you. They're like, psych, and I'm just like, oh man, all right, I'm not going down this. I'm not believing you this time. Every time
you forget, man, this is a Marvel film. They don't take their time. They don't let you like sit in the mood. All right, yeah. They gotta throw a joke at you to get you back in.
They have an entire. I'm not even familiar with the specifics of this, but Marvel Cinematic, the MCU, has their own style of joke that they're known for now. Like it's one of those things where they try to specifically avoid. I know in video games they talk about how like they'll make a joke in a video game, and the first thing that everybody piles on is like, oh, that's an MCU joke. Like they're just like copycatting how the MCU makes jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw that happen a lot with the.
How do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Zeus. I know who this is. What's going on? Wolverine is obviously amazing. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. And we get multiple Wolverines in this. So how does that like pan out? How does that play out with multiple Wolverines?
Yeah. Okay, so it pans out in the sense that Oh man, I don't know. Should I go full spoiler on this?
Go full spoiler, dude. This whole thing is about talking about the movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're beyond no spoiler point.
He's on the hunt to find a Wolverine that he can take back because it has to do with the time people, right? Like, he's trying to make them happy so that they don't destroy his universe. So he's got to go find a Wolverine. So he goes through all the universes trying to find the Wolverine. The only one he can get is the worst Wolverine. And then they're like, what the hell are you even doing? Like, why are you even... Yeah. That's not how this works. And so there's like this whole, I don't know, like, well, what do I do now? Because he just went on this whole like journey to like fix the problem. And they're like, no, you don't understand. There's no fixing this problem. And so you get kind of like these two stuck together. And it's funny. It was clever done. I don't know if you'd call Paradox the villain. I mean, he is sort of a villain, but... Nah,
he's the reason that everything took place, though.
Okay, so I have some questions about this. Having not seen the movie yet, I have some questions. In the trailers, we saw what looked like female Charles Xavier.
Yes. Yeah, okay, hold on. Oh, there's the... Yeah, that was one of my favorite things here. Hold on, let me just jump. There we go. Yeah. Right here.
Yeah, so this is Charles Xavier's sister.
Okay.
Which I don't like the character. When I first heard of this character, when they came out with it, and I thought this is the dumbest idea for a character. She's Professor X's, apparently, when he was in the womb, he had a twin, yep. And then she was the evil version of Professor X, and so she tried to kill him, and then he stopped her, and then she was aborted or something, and then somehow survived, and then grew up to be evil, and remembers being in the womb and everything else.
Yeah, she tried to kill Charles within the womb by wrapping his own umbilical cord around his neck. So that's how that sibling rivalry.
Everyone's trying to cripple Professor X, man, every time.
I have to ask. I would really like to see a picture of of Charles and her parents, because I want to see, and grandparents. That I want to know, is the baldness thing a gene?
Right. That's like, okay. This is just so you obviously know.
Is it? Yeah. So just FYI, that's an Xavier.
Here's the thing, though.
I thought that was the Sorcerer Supreme before Doctor Strange.
This character, I think, is a dumb character. However, she did a pretty damn good job playing this character.
She was very
I was going into it going, oh man, I don't like this character. But I gotta say, dude, from her first introduction into the movie and that scene, I was like, oh shit. She's actually...
The way she fucks with people's minds and just...
dude. That's another thing. Special effects. Wicked. The cool thing about a good movie is when they have some new effect they want to play around with, some special effect. And this movie's got it, dude. That was weird to look at. She does this thing where she's puts her fist it's Terminator effects, right? Like Terminator 2 special effects, but she puts her hands in people and you can actually see it moving around underneath their skin, and it's that pretty damn good graphics, man. That was some impressive special effects, I gotta say. That's not the reason she's actually good in this role, but that was a really cool little bonus.
So she's a variant from her own universe that was thrown into, I forget what they call this place, but it's the purgatory from Loki, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, and they made it to where she runs this place between space and time. This is her home. She runs it the way she wants to, and everybody works under her. So she is the big bad by the end of it. Paradox is an asshole that launches the problem, but she takes over and makes it worse.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy into this. Although I will say we kind of saw hints of that already with the Loki series. So I'm kind of like, I'm not going to say it's rehashed. I'm being negative Nancy over here playing devil's advocate.
You can totally say that. We got the time.
That was one of my apprehensions. Like, one of my first things that I was concerned about was that they were going to simply use the TSA as the excuse to do whatever they wanted. And it's like, that was the suspending disbelief. Oh, it's the TSA. So there.
Yeah. And they do a good job with that, actually. I think that it's the TSA, right? It's the TSA. Like, I think they did a good job with that whole aspect, because I was in the same boat with you. I was like, you can literally write off. And that's the problem with these multiverses, is you can, like we were saying the last time with the Robert Downey Jr., you can write off, and you can like have a million stories so nothing actually matters. But
TVA.
TVA,
Sorry, the
yeah.
TVA.
The TVA.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Right? I think everybody says that. But
Dojo has us covered. No worry.
Yeah, thanks Dojo for getting our back here. But they did a good job with that, I thought. Like, they weren't like in the shows. I mean, yes and no. There were some funny moments. They definitely had their moments that I thought when they're watching the television screens and all that, and then they're like quoting the scenes. They're all like whispering. That was funny. That got me. Because they're kind of goofy, like the TVA is kind of a goofy squad. And I didn't like the idea that, you can just have a million Wolverines and nothing matters. But actually with Deadpool, it works because he is the worst Wolverine. Like, it's not our Wolverine, but this is actually Deadpool's Wolverine. It's better that it's this Wolverine, because if it was our Wolverine, you're kind of like, what is it? I don't know how they put it. The TVA put it, but it was like, he was like a sacred character or something, and it's not the sacred timeline, but it's like this, like a sacred character in the timeline. And this is Deadpool we're talking about, so you can't have everything's irreverent. So you can't have like your top of the line Wolverine. You know what I mean? We got Wolverines coming out the wazoo. We can't have our top guy hanging around with Deadpool. Anchor being, yes, anchor being. Which is an interesting concept.
It's interesting, but this far into everything Marvel, I don't think that has any weight to it, because does that mean that all anchor beings are just taking place now? What about anchor beings from the past? Were there anchor beings during, the dinosaur ages? So it's like, how much is that really?
How long does an anchor being?
Yeah, outside of this movie, how much weight does that actually have?
I didn't even think about. The thought crossed my mind, like, well, what about that past and stuff? But I guess if it's a comic book universe, anchor beings make sense.
But wouldn't that be Kang?
But then he says,
be the anchor being.
But then he explains how the universe will disintegrate over 1,000 years. You know what I mean? So that means that they did consider that, which means the entire universe exists for that one anchor being. And that doesn't account for... That means all the dinosaurs, the Big Bang, and everything had led up to that point just for that one being. And then it slowly decays over 1,000 years. Like, that was a weird... But like I was telling somebody, I don't remember who, but... for all the things that don't make sense or that I didn't really like, it actually can be explained. Oh, it might have been with Dojo, actually. It can be explained in the idea that this is an action Deadpool movie. It doesn't need to have like a whole lot of sense. It doesn't need to have a whole lot of thought put behind it, because it's a fun movie. Like end, like the big ending scene or whatever, the big climactic ending or the big climax. If you think about the logistics of that scene, it's kind of like that's weird. That's like that machine, that thing's supposed to do, but it goes down into this basement, and that's weird. Like, that doesn't really make logistical sense.
It's not a movie. It's not a movie for you to overthink about. This is a
exactly.
This is the shut off your brain, enjoy the fucking ride that we paid you to get on.
Yes.
So just
It's like, you know what? We
I
need
can buy
this
into
scene
that.
where these two guys are doing this thing, and let's just make this the catalyst work around that scene that we need to get out of this kind of a thing, you know? And it was perfect. I thought it was fun. It was like a fun amen. It's a fun movie, and it's like worth watching for the fun. And being somebody who's been reading X-Men pretty much my whole life, and Wolverine in particular is my favorite character, I was very happy. And this scene in particular, I was like, I skipped it, but I was like, oh shit, because of Todd McFarlane's cover, dude. It's like that homage. I like that word, homage. This is this isn't a spoiler. It's a half-second scene, and it's all over Twitter. So if you don't like it, but,
I was going to ask you about the red. If he was going to wear the red outfit, that was always my favorite outfit.
I wish they had more like this one. The brown, the brown and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I wish they had more of it, but I gotta say, man.
The John Byrne version?
I like the original. Well,
Oh,
not the new one. The original one. That's Byrne, right?
John Byrne, yeah. That's the brown one.
Yeah. They have the new brown one, which I think this one was more based on where the brown goes all the way down the sides, or what does it go down all the way down? I don't know. There's no underwear. I like the underwear, dude. You can't be a superhero without wearing underwear, you know?
Does he wear the underwear in any of those outfits?
I don't think so. I don't remember him wearing the underwear.
But
he should have. He totally should have. That would have been freaking even better. Especially considering, they went all out with some of those costumes.
Mm-hmm.
The cross, the Wolverine on the cross. What series was that? Like mini series or crossovers or whatever. What was the story arc for that one with the X? That wasn't Days of Future Past. That was
no, that was, what do you call it? When that's Sylvester.
Yeah, it's
Sylvester. Yeah,
it was
that's what Dojo had been saying
what was
earlier.
the story arc for that one? It might have been Days of Future. I don't think it was though.
I can't remember what that one was, but.
Let me look it up real quick. That was a really cool. It was kind of funny. Like when that popped up, the face he was making, I was like laughing at it. Like he's up on the X, and I'm just like,
he's just staring down, waiting to die.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of funny. That was like a funny moment in the movie, and it shouldn't have been funny.
No. I thought Patch
Dojo says it's Extinction Agenda.
That's right. Yep. I think I have that cover. Oh, I should have pulled that up. I'm gonna present and share that comic book cover, or should I present and share the movie?
Can you?
Not the whole movie. I mean, but the scene.
That's coming next.
Yeah, I got to show that because that was actually that was really funny, dude. I was like, oh snap, and then as I'm looking at him, oh dude, I'm gonna end up with that same shit where I can't find like a high def. Oh, this is a really good photo. Hold on, this might be the one. Come on, guys, you haven't. Fucking Reddit. I can't. Reddit hates me.
That's what Reddit does. Is it hates people. That's the entire purpose for Reddit.
Yeah.
Dude, Reddit banned me. I don't even know why. I never even posted on Reddit.
They banned me too. I don't know why that is.
This scene right here was like it was a quick and like easy scene, I guess. But I was kind of like, that's fucking awesome that they did that. Of course, this is the face we get in it.
He looks just like, I'm tired of hanging here.
Yeah,
Can we move on?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Why
Can we get this scene over with here? I've been here for fucking 40 years now hanging on this fucking X, and they finally filmed it.
He's like, well, at least the rain masks my piss.
You know what? They are going to have him play this character until he's 90.
Well, he keeps killing it, man.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what to say about that. He's going to... There's a couple of actors that I think are going to be playing characters until they're like 90. He's one of them. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who? Maybe
Chris Evans, apparently. Oh, yeah. So he had a cameo in this. How was that? I've heard funny things. I heard it was...
All right.
It was great.
So his cameo is funny. I didn't expect it, actually. I thought it was going to be the Captain America.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, he plays Johnny Storm.
Yeah, and that was in the news.
He set a world record, by the way. A funny side note on it. He set a world record for the longest gap in between movies for a person playing a character. And then, of course, what I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe Wesley Snipes then appeared later in the movie. And being later in the movie, and because of Blade being prior to Fantastic Four, Wesley Snipes immediately broke that same record.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Wesley Snipes was pretty good, actually. I did not expect Wesley Snipes. And,
I'll tell you who I didn't expect was...
oh, yeah? Was it the girl?
No, I didn't care to see her come back.
I didn't care about her, but I did not.
Which girl?
Okay. So it's a throwaway. It's the throwaway. The Void is like the throwaway, right? It's a trash can.
Yeah.
And since 20th Century Fox is now in the trash can, they bring some 20th Century Fox
characters
into this movie. That it's kind of like we can't afford to get some of these other guys, like even Thor. Like there's that Thor moment, and then I'm like, oh, but that's funny because it's also Deadpool. You can't get Chris Hemsworth to do that scene. You've got to get that other guy, his brother. That's his brother, right?
Why is Thor crying?
Yeah. Why is he crying? Is that me? And then like that whole thing was funny, dude. I was like, oh, but it's not even the real Thor. But that was pretty good. It's a throwaway, and so you get some characters like Wesley Snipes. Which one were you not expecting?
I wasn't expecting my Cajun friend.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I heard. Yeah, that was a Ryan Reynolds pulled Channing Tatum.
Yeah,
I didn't like Channing Tatum as Gambit.
So,
oh man,
you don't think he is?
It was so good.
I don't like him as Gambit. No,
it was so much cheese. I invited it right into my home.
Dojo's not a fan of Channing Tatum either.
Cheers to that.
I gotta say, he was not bad as Gambit. I don't know if I would have. The fan art that I'd seen of him was way better than I think the best they could do in this movie. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a picture of him because it's like I don't know, maybe it feels like 10 years ago or something. It could have been better, but like the images. I'm looking up some images right now of what I was hoping to see Channing Tatum. Oh, this is a good one. This was one I remember seeing a while back. New tab, share screen, present.
Dojo, I'd like to hear about that. I'm not familiar with Gambit Playing for Keeps, a movie about Gambit and Rogue. I will look that up. That looks interesting.
Wait. Gambit Playing for Keeps? Gambit Playing for Keeps. Oh, yeah. I did hear about that. So this was... Ignore the huge continuity. What car, though?
In that movie?
I don't know what car you're talking about.
Gambit Playing for Keeps, I think is what he's referring to.
Well, so here's the thing. I was hoping to see this Channing Tatum, and that's not the Gambit that we got. We got come on. It's these
Did he even have the cowl?
Oh, yeah. The costume was actually pretty,
I guess I can
pretty
see
good.
Deadpool doing that right.
There we go.
He just doesn't look the part to me.
He doesn't.
It's not that he couldn't look the part. There are 3 things that are wrong with this image right here, but I'm only going to bother with 2 because I don't really care that they didn't give him the red eyes, right?
I like the red eyes. I wanted the red eyes.
Yeah, I want to see the red eyes.
I understand that, but either way, what's wrong here is that he did not go on a 7-day dry fast. So he's got
his neck was a
all
little
the
thick in
liquor
that.
and water weight in his face.
Yeah.
You can't do that when you use that mask, that cowl. And the cowl doesn't go far up enough on his cheekbones either.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then-
I agree.
And then he needed longer
Yeah.
hair. And then he needed longer hair. That's it.
He did. He needed longer hair. I agree with that. It's pretty spot on.
How was his accent?
Over the top,
great.
dude. His accent was pretty good. See, that's what
Was
he
it?
should have looked like.
Yeah.
Okay, it's over the top. The accent was over the top, but it was funny because you can't understand him,
Yeah.
and they make
And
that joke.
let's be fair. A lot of people in Louisiana, I can't understand them either.
Yeah,
Well,
I used
you're
to
not
work in
supposed to,
Louisville.
and you don't want to.
No, it's the French Quarter for the reason.
The costume was spot on, except for you're right that cheekbone thing should have been better. His hair should have been longer. I agree with that, and he should have lost some weight or something in his neck.
Yeah.
Because, and I know they're all getting old. Channing Tatum was supposed to be Gambit back in X-Men 3. Like, apparently they cast him in for X-Men 3 and then cut him out. And then he was going to play Gambit in his own movie.
2014.
But then that was put on hold. And so then he was going to be, but he was like a big fan of Gambit. He really wanted to be Gambit.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
Then they got Wolverine. They were going to bring Gambit in, but he was making some other movie. And so he couldn't play Gambit in the Wolverine movie. So they said, okay, well, we'll bring him back for Gambit later. And it's been ongoing.
And they got that other guy that also sucked. Like, Gambit has been done dirty in the movies.
Yeah.
And this does a pretty good job with Gambit. I'll say. I wish they had done the eyes because I really like the eyes. I mean, that would have been badass if we had gotten that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they did that. And I could be just spitballing, but they did that so they wouldn't take away from the main 2 characters of the film.
That's true. You got to remember that this whole thing was Wolverine, Deadpool, and the problem with bringing too many stars, just like in X-Men 3 and a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
These you're gonna take the thunder away from all your
Wesley
your other
Snipes'
characters.
Blade. He should have cleaned up that whole fight scene by himself.
Yeah.
You didn't need anybody else there if you have Wesley Snipes' Blade.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, then again, he was going up against all the forgettables. I guess I don't know what you call them.
Point made.
Yeah.
They made a big deal about that. So they're making another Blade movie, and they recast Blade, and I don't remember how he feels about that. Because there was something about him, I believe, not being too happy about it. But there was a big fan uproar about after this movie in particular being like, we want him recast, we want him as Blade.
Yeah,
bring him back.
No, he was totally upset with it, but he did a good
job as Blade. He didn't look like he's aged very much over the past decades.
No, he looked good. He looked good and fit for this film.
And he's like, "There's only one Blade."
Does he say that in the movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the new Blade film was supposed to focus more on his daughter than him, kind of like the new Ant-Man Quantumania film.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to put 2 bullets in the head of that, you just did.
I appreciate that all these guys have daughters that are being brought into their... nepotism for daughters in the MCU runs rampant.
Apparently you can't care for your sons anymore.
You know what? I was all excited at watching this. And X-23 was in there because she was like, I don't know if she's in the previews or not, but that was in the news. She was going to be in the film. And now everyone's talking about, not everyone. When I say everyone, there's a bunch of loudmouths on Twitter and who write articles and stuff for these movies, comic book magazines, who are begging for the MCU to make Laura, the X-23, the new Wolverine for the MCU. Oh, give her a second chance. And like they're doing like this, you know how they do those annoying
well, she lost that because it's Hugh Jackman's role to lose now.
I don't know, man. She did a good job in that movie, but she only had a short scene, but it was like pretty good. And you know they're gonna try, they're gonna do it. They're already making Silver Surfer a girl. They're gonna make her a girl. I don't have any faith. This was a good movie. I think mostly because Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, obviously, but that does not restore my faith in the rest of what Disney's doing. I don't think the MCU is going to get better now that they've got this Deadpool movie under their belt. I think that they got lucky that Ryan fought so hard to make it.
I said in my stream over on my channel that Robert Downey Jr. is the bookends to the Marvel Universe. He began it, and now he's going to put the final nail in the coffin for it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they'll keep making movies, but man, I was not happy when I heard about female Silver Surfer. I know it happened in the comic books.
I can kind of see, like, I imagine there are probably some pretty interesting images of that online.
I mean, everybody wants chrome boobies. Everybody loves chrome boobies.
It's like, imagine a chrome
I was
robe.
like excited for that, but I mean, I'd rather see, to be honest, I could go to AI and make that shit. I'd like to see.
You don't need a whole movie made for it?
Yeah, I don't need a whole movie around it. Silver Surfer. Because we didn't even get a Silver Surfer in this MCU yet.
Dojo, what did they do in the comics? What are you referring to? I'm curious if he's talking about a female Silver Surfer.
Well, like, they've made everybody girls in the comics. They made Thor a girl in the comic books. So I don't put any stock in that.
Did they make him and they do it so it doesn't even matter, I guess. They do it so different sometimes. It's like somebody's, like, I know in the movie they handed over X-23. Yeah, okay, so they did that in the comics, yeah. X-23 taking over Wolverine's role. Yeah,
they did that again, but that's a lot of this recent stuff that's going on because they gotta turn everyone into a girl. I'm not completely opposed to the idea of making comic books when you have multiverses and different universes and you can play around with it. I'm not against the idea of playing with all of that shit. I don't care if you're going to make an alternate version of Silver Surfer where he's a girl, or even a gay Wolverine. But when you start bringing that, it's not mainstream. It's just a spoof, a spin-off comic for fun. When you start making that the canon in your what do they call the timeline? The sacred timeline of the MCU. Yeah. That's bullshit, man. And that's why I don't have any faith in canon. And like you were saying, Jake, in your stream, you're like, nah, I reject it. That didn't happen.
No.
I was like, no. I don't remember what y'all talking about. I was like, nah, that's how I feel.
My buddy told me that Rhodey, War Machine.
Oh yeah.
The whole fucking time, he was a Skrull. I reject that immediately. You are not telling me that from 2008 to then for Secret Invasion, he was a Skrull. Fuck that.
Yeah. That's,
you know what?
And you have to watch the show to find out.
I am fine with that, but you can't ham-fist it in there. It's like, if he's a Skrull the entire time, there has to be some hints to where you can go back and rewatch the movies, and it's like, oh, wow, they put in this stuff 10 years ago that we didn't even know about. That's cool. But when you go like now, and you're saying that a character, like you're changing the path of the character from 14 years ago just to fit like some kind of storyline nowadays, just so that you can go off on a different tangent with your story. That's crap. Like that, it's a disservice to the fans who've enjoyed the series. We want to see a continuation of a story, not a continuous and constant rewrite.
Yeah, and
I'll get off my soapbox.
When you're doing that in this primary movies, why can't they make spin-off movies? You know what I mean? If they're going to have a multiverse and do the Fantastic Four with Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, that is totally fine. The difference in like what Dojo's talking about with the comic books and what we see in the movies, the difference is that, especially as somebody who grew up in the 90s, we fought fucking hard to get an X-Men movie, and I'm not saying like we're actually like going to battle or anything, but that was something that everyone was screaming about, and we finally fucking got it. We finally fucking got an X-Men movie. We finally got some good Marvel movies. They're making good movies out of these comic books that we were reading, but we're only getting one a year. You're only getting like an Avengers movie once every couple of years. You're getting an X-Men movie, like one a decade. So it's not like you're getting one once a month or 3 a year or something, to where it's like you can experiment with different things. If you're only going to make one movie a year, totally cool, but don't trash the continuity of the thing. You've got to make the storylines good. You've got to fall in line with what works.
Yeah. And that's cool, and I agree. Like they need to make they're going to go through all the budget and everything of making a movie. Although TV shows are getting to the point where they're movie quality, and people aren't going to the movies anymore unless they're, $100 billion box office. Mm-hmm. Let's buy an island and make a movie.
That doesn't mean they're not making money off of those movies, though. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear a word about these producers and these studios bitching about how they can't like get box office numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck all that. You're also cutting your budget costs. Suck it up, Buttercup. You're making money.
Yeah,
and don't tell me you're not.
And then when they get on social media and start complaining about men aren't watching it, or this, like, what was that movie? I forget which one it was. They were like, was it the Suicide Squad or something?
Are you talking about Elizabeth Banks, Charlie's Angels? Or are you talking about the female Ghostbusters film?
All right, or the million other movies.
I'm sorry, I had a list over here.
Specifically, the Harley Quinn movie. When that movie came out, they were like, "This isn't for men, so y'all are gonna hate it. So don't go watch it. We don't watch it. I don't watch it."
And we said, "Okay,
no big deal. I didn't really want to watch it anyways." And then they're like,
"Are you talking about The Acolyte?"
That's why this movie failed because y'all didn't watch it. So we told me not to. I'm not gonna go.
No, that Birds of Prey film was a
That's
train
it. Birds of Prey. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
watch
was.
it. I was
That's
told not to watch
unfortunate,
it.
dude. I am not like I'm a Marvel guy. Aside from everything that's going on nowadays, I was doing X-Men and everything in the 90s. I was enjoying all of that. There are some IPs in DC that I really, really like, but man, they do it so, like, they get it so wrong. I want to see DC pick it up and do something good. They've got some great entities out there, but dude, they screw it up. And Birds of Prey is just another one like, oh, yeah, duh, because Batgirl and because The Flash and because, like, there's so many examples of Batman Forever. Like, that's just what they do.
Nah, I'll be the one. I'll be like, out of the old 90s Batman movies, Batman Forever was my favorite.
1 second.
Batman and Robin was complete trash. But I enjoyed Batman Forever just because it gave that like 60s zany type, 80s neon kind of vibe to it. I dug it. But I was what? I was 11 when that movie came out.
Yeah, that's what, like, I want to give a fair shake to every I'll back down on a lot of things, but dude, I can't back down on that one. That was such a trash movie. I'm sorry. I get where you're coming from with that because, yeah, it is. It's flashy, and it is what old Batman was before Jack Nicholson and all of that. But God, the thing is, had that movie been made before the original Batman, not the original Adam West Batman movie, but before the 90s iterations of the Batman movie, if that had been made early 90s and then we got the other ones, that would have been cool. It suffered a lot having been in the middle of two really great series of Batman movies.
Well, that had to do with all the parents being like, "Oh, Tim Burton's Batman was too dark," so they brought in Joel Schumacher, who was going to go the same route as Tim Burton a little bit. If you watch the behind the scenes stuff, he was going to delve very much into the psyche of Bruce Wayne and Batman. That's why
they made a comic book about took aspects.
Yeah, that's why Nicole Kidman's character was a psychologist. What the fuck was she doing at a police site? She had no reason to be there, but they were going to bring her on to dive into it. And so it was going to be good, but because of everything that went downhill with Tim Burton's Batman and McDonald's and toys and all that.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly what happened is toy sales is what screwed all of that up. Which they nailed. Like they nailed toy sales. They took it from, they took a page out of the Star Wars book. They absolutely capitalized on merchandise for those movies. And then when they were dark, McDonald's like, what the fuck did we just sign up for?
Yeah, but
that's right. I grew up
badass.
I grew up after castor oil cured everything. I can't.
Dude, that Tim Burton Batman 3 would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I know that they had made a comic book and there's a script leak and everything, so I think they used it in that comic, and that would have been pretty epic. Oh, can you imagine him doing Mr. Freeze? Oh,
dude, I would love a good Mr. Freeze.
Right? Oh, you know what? And Jake, I'm watching that Batman show. You haven't done the live stream yet, have you?
No, we can do it tomorrow if you want.
Let's do it tomorrow. Anybody who's watching tomorrow,
we can do it tomorrow or we can do it Friday. I don't care. I don't care about Friday night time.
Well, I guess you give me more time on Friday to watch it all, but
okay. I don't care about Friday Night Tides. I don't care about the Kings. Let's just fucking have fun.
Oswaldo, have you heard about that, Stanley? Oswaldo Cobblepot.
They didn't even try.
A female penguin?
A female penguin, which, okay, there's mixed reviews on this. My initial thought after looking at it was like, this is dog
shit. They didn't go with Pat Cobblepot?
Patricia? No, because it's Oswald Cobblepot.
Pat. What's that? It's Pat.
Damn.
I'm going to look this up, dude, because this is insane. It's Oswald.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, I can't.
So I have a couple things to say about it. Dean James from Comics Mate actually posted on my Twitter about it, saying that he's making a video about it. So I'm gonna watch his if he makes it before Friday, and then I'm just gonna shit all over it and say, well, this is how I think about it.
You know what? Your boy Zach made a video about it, and he actually he thought it was organic.
Right.
And I was like, maybe I'll go watch it, because I do like Zach's takes, and I think he's generally pretty right. But on the other hand, then I look at it, and I go,
That is Robin Williams in a penguin costume as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, it is. That is Robin Williams. I'm like, I don't know, man. This is getting out of hand. This shit, they can't even come up with a.
I'm the dude dressed as a dude disguised as a woman.
Yeah. Did they turn him into a girl? I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that's totally a chick. That's totally Oswald.
That is something else, man. I get making all the chicks lesbians, and I get making all the dudes chicks, but I think it might have gone too far.
It's a butch dyke penguin, but you give her the most soothing voice for a voiceover. That does not translate.
Oh, is she a trans? I haven't seen it yet. Is she trans in this? That would have been better.
I already made that joke. You can't have
that.
That
actually would have been better, man.
Yeah, I made that joke too.
Oh, I thought you were agreeing with me. It would have been better if they'd made her trans.
I've totally got shit to say about their version of Harley Quinn and all of the DEI shit, and then I have stuff that I like about it. So I can actually.
So is it a good show on the whole?
On the whole, it doesn't feel that great. You might want some lube, but at the same time,
isn't this supposed to be like the X-Men '97 version of the old '90s Batman
I don't
animated
care how much
series?
you try and make those two correlate. It is not the same thing.
That's a bummer.
I hear that it's like sounds the same and it's like vibes or whatever, similar vibes, but it's not.
Well, here's the setup. Bruce Timm was the writer, producer, executive for Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
Guess who's back for Caped Crusader? And until Friday, I won't say any more on it.
There you go. You gotta go watch it. Man, I don't know if I should end the show on this. Dude.
No, we bring it back to Deadpool and Wolverine, which was fucking awesome.
I've got a video that I was trying to play, but it's a fucking TikTok video on YouTube, and I can't. And it's a short, so you try to hit play or you try to pause it, and it won't do it. Ugh. I know. I'm like, whatever. Every episode, y'all are gonna have to just get used to it because
I find it very much a kick in the nuts and a finger to everybody that watched Deadpool 1 and 2 that he is not with his woman in this film. They just end up being friends.
Oh, really? Yeah, you just ruined it for me, dude. That's such a big part of
Yeah, that was the whole point of the first and second film.
Yeah, it was. Sure. It was the whole point of his. Well, according to the trailers, at least, it was the point of his going back through the TVA or the end of Deadpool 2. He's going back through time. I assumed that him going back through time is what set off the TVA, which sets off the events of the third movie. I don't know that, but. That's what I'm assuming.
You're right. You're right, but how much that actually plays into the story across the whole arc? Very minimal.
You know what? It's not
unfortunate.
That big of a deal. It does tie into the story, but it's not that important to the story. But also, there's a thing that I was kind of confused about with his girlfriend in that movie. I wasn't too happy with that. I thought that was weird.
No, it was a bullshit move.
It was like a bullshit move for no reason. Especially how they ended Deadpool 2. That was a weird thing. It might have made more sense if the whole premise, I guess it kind of was to fix that relationship. But it was kind of a cuck. Well, you got cucked a little bit.
To give away how that ends up, but I'm not going to ruin it for everybody. So go watch the film.
Go watch the movie if anybody hasn't seen it yet. I know
you're in for a fun ride. I'll say this: there are a lot of similarities to Deadpool and Wolverine and Spider-Man: No Way Home. Now, Spider-Man: No Way Home had way more heart. I get that. I'm not even going to argue. But the rewatch value goes to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, dude.
I could see that.
The heart, you're right about that. The heart of this movie is not like Deadpool 2 had more heart than this movie.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
But this movie, I will watch over and over and over again. Because I know there's shit that I missed in that movie. I'm catching as much as I can because there's only so much when you watch it in theaters. There's only so much you can you're staring up at the screen and you're like, whoa, oh my God. There are Easter eggs all across the board in that movie, man. Everything in the background is an Easter egg.
Yeah.
It's like wow, I got to go watch this movie again.
They have one of the scenes where they're walking out all dramatic in slow motion and there's a shoe store in the background, and the shoe store is named after that artist that could never draw feet.
Liefeld.
Oh, yeah, Liefeld.
Yeah, Liefeld.
Which that was cool. There's a lot of those kind of homage. I keep saying homage. I don't know if that's.
It's the word of the day.
Tipping your hat to
all of your furniture needs to be going now.
Yeah, right. I need to do that. Get the couch just get the couch and everything to freak out like good old
Cherry.
Pee Wee Herman. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're at 104 now, and I want to keep talking about it, but on the other hand, we're over the hour on this, and we can talk about it again next time. Go to Bionic Bro's channel. Is it Tail End?
It's Bionic Bro. It's Bionic Bro.
It's Bionic Bro on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a live stream soon, so make sure to subscribe, just like to this channel. Subscribe to this channel because we're growing. We're getting
That's
there.
why
We're
I
getting
carry it
there.
out because this place is fun.
Yeah, we're getting better. I mean, I'm learning things, and I got music playing this whole time. This episode, so we're getting there. I'm not going to do the outro this time because I think I get copyright. I probably would have gotten copyright struck anyways, right?
Don't think so. Let's find out. Don't do an ending. Let's find out.
Yeah. See, Jojo.
Now.
Just kidding. I'm not gonna do it.
Jojo said it right. It's homage.
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 It's YouTube. You gotta repronounce everything. I'll see y'all next time. On whatever. I gotta come up with some better way to end this. An outro. Get the fuck out of here.